the game this year, obviously barring injury, which is the conversation you and I had. And if he doesn't get an opportunity to start a game this year because of injury and show something different than he was able to show this preseason, I don't believe they view him as a franchise builder, a franchise starter.
Shedeur Sanders is officially on the roster. Ain't no way in hell he wasn't gonna make it. He also gonna be the third QB. A lot of people mad. I see it as an opportunity.
I know where I kind of want them to go. Mm-hmm. And let's not forget Shadeur, okay? Mm-hmm. But I know where I want them to go. So there's certain cities that, hey.
Tom Brady just said something about Shedeur Sanders that has everyone questioning if the Cleveland Browns even trust him. From sliding all the way to the 5th round, to being pushed down the depth chart, and even rumors of Deion pulling strings behind the scenes. This isn't just a rookie story, it's a warning. Tom Brady's words didn't sound like praise. They sounded like a caution sign. When asked about Shedeur Sanders, the legendary quarterback hesitated, stumbled, and finally gave a safe answer. Day 2 matters more than draft day. On the surface, it looked like encouragement, but fans caught the real message. Brady wasn't willing to vouch for him. This was shocking, considering Brady knows Shedeur personally and is one of the most respected voices when it comes to evaluating quarterbacks. If anyone could have defended him, it was Brady. And the fact that he didn't spoke volumes.
It's a good question. I wasn't a part of any evaluation process or to
Skip Bayless says otherwise.
I know. Well, everyone's got that's the problem with media is everyone could just say whatever the fuck they want and get away with it.
Crazy.
It's kind of unfortunate because there actually used to be a lot of integrity in media and there's way less now because everyone needs crazy voices to get heard. And it actually probably hurts a lot of relationships, which is not the goal of, broadcasting. It should be to develop and cultivate and solve problems. And rather than the critiques, I want people to offer solutions all the time. So nobody knows. And I actually texted Shedeur because I know him very well. And I said, dude, whatever happens, wherever you go, that's your first day. Day 2 matters more than the draft. I was 199.
Yeah.
So who could speak on it better than me? What that really means.
From the moment Shedeur entered the Cleveland Browns facility, the writing seemed to be on the wall. Instead of competing for the backup spot behind Joe Flacco, he was quickly dropped to 3rd string behind Dillon Gabriel, another rookie. Then the team went out and signed Bailey Zappe to the practice squad, signaling that Shedeur wasn't even in their top plans. For a player once hyped as a top draft prospect, the fall was sharp and immediate. To many fans, this wasn't about competition. It was about the Browns making it clear they didn't believe in him. Preseason only added to the doubts. In a key moment late in the final game, Coach Kevin Stefanski pulled Shedeur out and put Tyler Huntley in to run the 2-minute drill. It was a move that left fans stunned. Why not let Shedeur finish? Why not give him the spotlight to prove himself? Instead, it looked like the team didn't even want him to shine. That's why Brady's comments about earning it the hard way didn't come across as motivational. They sounded more like confirmation of what the Browns were already showing. And then came the whispers about Deion Sanders. The NFL doesn't forget, and executives don't like being told what to do. But Deion went public before the draft, openly saying he wouldn't allow his sons to play for certain teams. That set the wrong tone. Instead of being viewed as an elite quarterback prospect, Shedeur became viewed as baggage, a player who came with strings attached. Teams began to shy away, not wanting the drama of dealing with a father who was already trying to control the narrative. Insiders claim this was the exact turning point that made franchises pass on Shedeur over and over again. That's where the most explosive theory takes hold, that Deion had to sweeten the deal to make sure Shedeur got drafted at all.
Hey, just got to talk to you about, NFL is a tough business. Shallow had, some bad. It's just, have you talked to him and how are his spirits?
Oh, most definitely. He's my son. I'm proud of my kids, all of them. And I prepared my kids for any and everything that could possibly happen in life and in sports. That's part of fathering, that's part of parenting, that's part of having a relationship. So he is mentally where he needs to be, physically where he needs to be. We're praying that he gets another opportunity to go with a team. But if he doesn't, the plans have already been put forward to what he's going to do next. So Shiloh is a man of many talents. I don't know if you guys know, he's a man of many talents, and he's going to be straight. All the Sanders are going to be straight, with or without football. You better believe that. You better believe that. I take care of mine, and I've always have, and y'all know what I mean. You better believe that.
The Browns passed on him 6 times before finally taking him in the 5th round, and many believe it wasn't purely football that led to that choice. Whether it was favors, leverage, or even outright bribes, the talk is that Deion wasn't going to let his son be left behind. At Colorado, he controlled every transfer, every contract, and every spotlight. It's not far-fetched to think he tried the same in the NFL. But this league is different. Meanwhile, Deion was already facing another crisis with his other son, Shiloh, who got cut by the Buccaneers after being ejected for punching a player in the preseason. Suddenly, one son was out of the league and another was barely hanging onto a roster spot. For a man who built his entire public image on being in control, the timing couldn't have been worse. Deion stood at press conferences insisting all the Sanders would be fine with or without football, but his tone sounded more like damage control than confidence. Fans haven't been forgiving either. Many point out Shadeur's biggest flaw, holding onto the ball too long and trying to make the hero play instead of the smart throw. And the reality is brutal. The Browns' quarterback room is crowded, and it's not built to showcase Shedeur. Joe Flacco, even at his age, brings veteran security. Dillon Gabriel earned the QB2 spot, showing enough flashes to convince coaches he was the safer backup. Then comes Bailey Zapp, who was quietly added to the practice squad.
He also gonna be the third QB. A lot of people mad. I see it as an opportunity. Think about it. Joe Flacco, old ass, he one snap away from retiring. And then you got Dillon Gabriel. Yeah, all them motherfucking interceptions he threw in that preseason. I know it's the preseason, but if he can throw it in the preseason, he damn sure can throw it in the regular season. All Shedeur got to do is sit back, watch his team lose, and they realize, oh, damn, we need a hero. We need somebody to come in here and save this fucking franchise. And would you look at that? Shedeur would be starting.
Anywhere from 1 through 4. One of them is going to be 1.
That's what I'm talking about.
One of them is going to be
speak it
1.
into existence.
And the latter one would not go behind 4.
To the casual fan, that might not mean much. But in the NFL, it's a huge signal. When a team clutters the depth chart around you, it's not because they're excited about your future. It's because they're preparing for life without you. This is why Brady's silence carried so much weight. As someone who personally lived the underdog story, picked 199th, overlooked by everyone, Brady could have used Shedeur as the perfect comparison. But he didn't. Instead, he reminded him that day 2 matters more than draft day. In other words, the hard work hasn't even started. And if Brady, who's known to uplift young quarterbacks, wouldn't attach his name to Shadeur's hype, what does that say about how the league really views him? Fans picked up on that hesitation instantly. It wasn't motivation, it was dismissal. Meanwhile, the whispers about Deion's influence refused to die. His reputation for controlling every aspect of his son's careers hasn't gone unnoticed by NFL executives. When he publicly declared he'd steer his sons away from certain teams, it might have played well in the media, but it alienated decision makers. To them, it wasn't just about Shadeur's ability to throw the football, and the reality is brutal. The Browns' quarterback room is crowded, and it's not built to showcase Shedeur. Joe Flacco, even at his age, brings veteran security. Dillon Gabriel earned the QB2 spot, showing enough flashes to convince coaches he was the safer backup. Then comes Bailey Zapp, who was quietly added to the practice squad. To the casual fan, that might not mean much, but in the NFL, it's a huge signal. When a team clutters the depth chart around you, it's not because they're excited about your future, it's because they're preparing for life without you. This is why Brady's silence carried so much weight. As someone who personally lived the underdog story, picked 199th, overlooked by everyone, Brady could have used Shedeur as the perfect comparison. But he didn't. Instead, he reminded him that day 2 matters more than draft day. In other words, the hard work hasn't even started. And if Brady, who's known to uplift young quarterbacks, wouldn't attach his name to Shadeur's hype, what does that say about how the league really views him? Fans picked up on that hesitation instantly. It wasn't motivation, it was dismissal. Meanwhile, the whispers about Deion's influence refused to die. His reputation for controlling every aspect of his son's careers hasn't gone unnoticed by NFL executives. When he publicly declared he'd steer his sons away from certain teams, it might have played well in the media, but it alienated decision makers. To them, it wasn't just about Shadeur's ability to throw the football, it was about the politics, the baggage, and the drama that came along with the Sanders name. And in a league where franchises are worth billions, no owner or GM wants to feel manipulated. That made Shedeur not just a risky pick, but a controversial one.